It's another day, which means there's another crazy conservative conspiracy theory. I swear, they have so many conspiracy theories, you know? Aluminum is in my deodorant. They're turning the frogs gay. Aliens abducted my dad, and that's why he never visits me. I mean, they literally have one for everything. And what's the latest one now? That's right, that a bunch of Haitian immigrants are eating people's pets. I wish I was kidding. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite jar of mayonnaise, Hunter Avalone here, back with another video. Don't forget to click that like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any new videos. Now, as I said, unfortunately, there is yet another conservative conspiracy theory, this time relating to Haitian immigrants in the town of Springfield, Ohio. Now, this conspiracy that Haitian immigrants are eating people's pets is just that, a conspiracy that is false, and we will get to that momentarily, but this falsehood was only made far worse by Donald J. Trump when he fueled this misinformation on the debate stage against Kamala Harris.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Now that, of course, is nonsense, and there are no credible reports of anyone's pets being taken and eaten by Haitian immigrants. Let me give you a little bit of context. The town of Springfield, Ohio was a formerly dying town. However, over the past 3 years, 15,000 plus legal Haitian immigrants have come into the city, offering some promise of economic revival. However, that has come with some significant growing pains. First and foremost, it's important to remember that many Haitians come to the US to flee poverty and violence. And even more so, these Haitian immigrants are strongly against illegal immigration, making up only 92 border arrests out of more than 56,000 in July. So an extremely low number of Haitian immigrants are caught trying to illegally cross the border. Clearly, Haitian immigrants take legal immigration seriously. Furthermore, officials in the town of Springfield have said that there are no credible or detailed reports of any pets being abducted or eaten. A lot of the nonsense that Haitians are eating pets or something stems from really just bigotry. This idea that a different culture than my own must therefore be barbaric or deranged or insane somehow. It's just wrong. Not to mention, like I said before, growing pains are a real thing. However, growing pains are not without benefit. In the town of Springfield, as more legal Haitians arrived, enrollment in Medicaid and federal food assistance, as well as welfare programs, surged. So did rents and vehicle accidents, a lot of negatives that you would kind of expect if there was a sudden increase in the population. There was a specifically horrible crime that took place in which last year a Haitian without a US driver's license drove into a school bus, killing an 11-year-old boy and injuring 26 other children. Now, although this is absolutely horrible, one, I think it would be pretty silly to conclude that this is somehow the fault of Haitians when we know that car accidents happen all the time. Even legal citizens get in car accidents. And two, what didn't happen, according to interviews with locals, county officials, and city police data, there was not a general rise in violent or property crime. Yes, there was an accident here. Yes, there was an influx here, which is a problem. However, overall, there was not a general rise when it came to violent crime. And even more so, as a result of all these Haitian immigrants arriving in this town, wages did not collapse, but instead wages began to surge with a rising number of job openings in the labor market that remained tight only until recently. Even more so, as heartbreaking and as terrible as that car accident story is, like I said, blaming Haitians for this really is pathetic, silly, and makes no sense. Even more so, it's disrespectful to the actual parents who lost that child. That's right, the little boy's father has begged the Springfield politicians to please stop using his son to hate on Haitian immigrants.
I wish that my son, Aiden Clark, was killed by a 60-year-old white man. I bet you never thought anyone would ever say something so blunt. But if that guy killed my 11-year-old son, the incessant group of hate-spewing people would leave us alone. The last thing that we need is to have the worst day of our lives violently and constantly shoved in our faces.
They do not follow in that hate, and the dad is strongly against using this tragedy to further the hate on Haitian immigrants. But now, the woman who is literally responsible for starting this whole rumor has spoken out and acknowledged she regrets this. This was a mistake. Erica Lee, a woman from Springfield, Ohio, who initially made a Facebook post alleging that local Haitian immigrants were eating pets, leading to significant national attention on the small city, has confessed she had no direct evidence supporting such a claim. Ooh, once again, conservatives just fall for the bigotry, even without the evidence, because, starting to think conservatives might be a tad bigoted. So the woman who started this rumor said the incident has left her ridden with guilt and anxiety due to the controversy that it generated. Her post detailed the disappearance of a neighbor's cat and included her neighbor's suspicions that their Haitian residents were involved in the incident. So all it was somebody like suspicious of their Haitian neighbors. There was again just no proof whatsoever that this actually happened. According to NewsGuard, an organization dedicated to combating internet misinformation, Lee was one of the first to spread the baseless rumor on social media. So not only was one of the main people who was responsible for this rumor now speaking out about how they regret this and how they had no evidence, even worse, these nonsense conspiracies are now leading to literal fucking bomb threats against the city. That's right. Officials said that the bomb threat was directed at entities like City Hall, the Clark County Courthouse, and 2 elementary schools. Come on. The threat also included hateful language towards immigrants and Haitians in our community. During evacuations and police investigations, authorities did not find a bomb or threat to safety. They once again reiterated during the interview that claims of migrants hurting or eating animals were just not happening in the community. So because of all of these nonsense rumors, there's now been bomb threats against multiple different schools in the town of Springfield, Ohio, all because conservatives are up in arms about people eating animals. I swear, these are the people who are up in arms that Haitian migrants are allegedly eating animals. Now, this all came to a head when J.D. Vance sat down for an interview with CNN. Now, I've not watched this interview yet, but I hear that J.D. Vance gets a little bit grilled. Now, why is he getting grilled, you might be wondering? It's because J.D. Vance also has continued to spread these absolute lies about Haitian migrants. Lies that are now resulting in bomb threats, lies that are doing nothing but spreading hate.
Is Republican Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance, who represents Ohio in the U.S. Senate. Thank you for being here, sir. So the mayor of Springfield, Ohio, Rob Rue, said, quote, "All these federal politicians that have negatively spun our city, they need to know they're hurting our city, and it was their words that did it." Before Donald Trump talked about eating dogs and cats on a debate stage, it was you, Senator, who first elevated this baseless rumor. These are your constituents. So why are you putting them at risk by continuing to spread claims about Haitian immigrants despite...
Before we let him answer, fact check, true. He is literally spreading false information. If he is amplifying rumors, and now as a direct result of this, there have been multiple different bomb threats that included hateful rhetoric against Haitian immigrants, this all checks out. This is absolutely correct. And the fact that J.D. Vance actually represents Ohio in the Senate is even more embarrassing, because J.D. Vance is hurting his own constituents by spreading these lies, which we now know have led to multiple different bomb threats.
Well, Dana, first of all, what's putting the residents of Springfield at risk, which was a town completely ignored by the American media until Donald Trump and I started surfacing some of these concerns, is that they can't afford housing, they can't afford health care. The schools have been overwhelmed, the hospitals have been overwhelmed.
Again, a lot of what he's saying is sort of an exaggeration. It's true that some things are overloaded in the town of Springfield. I have heard that healthcare specifically does have longer wait times and things like this. However, when we're talking about wages we're seeing an increase of wages.
Overwhelmed, and they're overwhelmed because Kamala Harris allowed 20,000 Haitian migrants to get dropped into a small Ohio town of about 40,000 people, and it's completely overwhelmed the service.
Again, what is he talking about? Kamala Harris allowed it? What? So according to this, it says Haitian immigrants have moved to Springfield, Ohio in recent years, seeing an opportunity to rebuild in the area after escaping mass violence and poverty back home in Haiti. So it sounds like these Haitian immigrants are choosing to move to Springfield, Ohio, seeing as it has a lot of opportunity for them. It does not sound as though Kamala Harris just picked up a bunch of immigrants and plopped them into the random town of Springfield, Ohio. What? Second of all, when JD Vance says that people can't even afford houses or anything, that's just not true. Local rents did increase at the third fastest pace among cities from May 2022 through the end of 2023, so that's true, rising at 14.6% annually. However, the market appears to be normalizing. Rents this year have risen at a modest 3.2% pace, 68th fastest among 400 cities sampled. Local wages were also slow to take off during the post-pandemic job market reshuffling. However, through the years associated with rising Haitian immigration, wages grew at a more than 6% annual pace for more than 2 years, about twice as long as seen nationally. According to what I'm reading here, Springfield's housing problems predate the Haitians' arrival. A pair of studies found underinvestment and lack of code enforcement over the years, alongside population decline, left homes vacant and in disrepair. However, this is also reversing, as a Ryan Homes subdivision on the outskirts of town has just opened up, the first new home construction in years, and it's nearly built out and largely occupied. So, we are obviously seeing some very significant improvements for the overall well-being for people in Springfield, Ohio. Again, still some growing pains. However, the Haitian immigrants are not really coming in here and messing a bunch of things up. In fact, we're seeing wages increase, we're seeing a lot of benefits, and a lot of the problems that JD Vance is talking about have since really started to reverse.
And it's completely overwhelmed the services. Now you ask, why have I talked about some of the things that I've been talking about? Let me just say this. My constituents have brought approximately a dozen separate concerns to me. 10 of them are verifiable and confirmable, and a couple of them I talk about because my constituents are telling me firsthand that they're seeing these things. So I have two
options. If they're verifiable, then why have we not gotten any verification of this happening in the town of Springfield, Ohio?
Dana. I can ignore them, which is what the American media has done for years to this community, or I can actually talk about what people...
Again, Springfield, Ohio is now in the center of the national conversation, not because JD Vance and Trump raised awareness about this poor little town, but because they used the town as a prop to further their anti-immigration rhetoric. That's why. Springfield, Ohio has been making a comeback. It's literally been improving. Their wages are increasing since the Haitians arrived. That should have been the main story, but instead now the main story is all this controversy that you and Trump started by spreading lies.
People are telling me. And of course, many of the things that the media says are completely baseless have since been confirmed. For example, I was told, Dana, that by the American media, that it was baseless that migrants were capturing the geese from the local park pond and eating them. And yet there are 911 calls from well before this ever became a viral sensation of people complaining about that exact thing happening.
People complaining about it doesn't mean it's actually happening. That's like saying, look how many police calls there were that somebody thought someone was breaking into their house. Clearly, this town is rampant with home invasion. Like, no, because they just thought that someone was breaking into their house. If those 911 calls are legitimate, why are the Springfield police saying that there are no reports of pets being stolen or eaten?
So my attitude is listen to my constituents. Sometimes they're going to say things that people don't like, but they're saying things that people don't like because their town has been overwhelmed, and it's my job to try to fight for them and to protect them. Kamala Harris opened the border, and now these people are suffering. That's what I'm focused on, Dana.
Senator, I have to go through several things that you just said. First of all, the Clark County Sheriff and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources reviewed 11 months of 911 calls. They only identified 2 instances of people alleging Haitians were taking geese out of parks. They found 0 evidence to substantiate those claims.
Oh, man, that's even better information than what I just delivered here. Oh, shit. Look at JD Vance's little smile. He's like, okay, How would a human react to this?
So other evidence that you have talked about, even you've retweeted alleged evidence, are unsourced social media videos from a different city, apparently no connection to Haitians. And this is from a conservative activist who offered a $5,000 reward, faculty to the schools and the hospitals and so forth being overwhelmed. Nobody is disputing that the town of Springfield, Ohio needs help. But you're not just a bystander, you're the senator from Ohio. So instead of saying things that are wrong and actually causing the hospitals, the schools, the government buildings to be evacuated because of bomb threats, because of the cats and dogs thing, why not actually be constructive in helping to better integrate them into the community? Because there are a lot of employers there who say that the Haitian workers are helping fill jobs that they need desperately filled.
It's true. Conservatives are so hung up on painting the Haitian immigrants as these terrible heathen people or something, when in reality, I was just reading earlier about a bunch of Haitian immigrants. Where are they? They were at church on Sunday morning praying about these rumors that Trump and JD Vance are spreading about them and their community.
Dana, first of all, let me just respond to a couple of things that you said, but I want to start with something you said, which I think is frankly disgusting and is more appropriate for a Democratic propagandist than it is for an American journalist. There is nothing that I have said that has led to threats against these hospitals. These hospitals, the bomb threats and so forth, it's disgusting. The violence
there were multiple different bomb threats, and the bomb threats included rhetoric that was racist and anti-Haitian immigrant. JD Vance, you and Big Daddy Trump are bolstering these rumors about Haitian immigrants eating pets. Now there is more anti-Haitian immigration sentiment in that town, and as a result, we're seeing more bomb threats. JD Vance, if you are so hung up on the town of Springfield needing help, why are you literally bolstering lies that are leading to schools being evacuated?
Is disgusting. We condemn it. We condemn all violence.
Senator,
and
this happened after you and President Trump were on the debate stage, said that cats and dogs were being eaten.
You asked a question, Dana, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it.
But you're not answering it, Jay. You're fucking lying right now and acting like a little baby. This is only like a Democrat propaganda question. No. Your rhetoric is causing a fucking harm, okay? Buckle up, big boy. You talk about freedom of speech. Speech has consequences.
What we have said is that this town has suffered terribly under the policies of Kamala Harris. Now, you just accused me of inciting violence against the community when all that I've done is surface the complaints of my constituents, people who are suffering because of Kamala Harris's policies. Are we not allowed to talk about these problems because some psychopaths are threatening violence? We can condemn the violence on the one hand, but also talk about the terrible consequences of Kamala Harris's open border on the other hand. Now,
then why not actually talk about what you view as being a problem there instead of making shit up? JD Vance's point that there's a lot of problems in that town and we need to talk about them. His point is further harmed when you make up a problem. If there are so many problems in the town, you shouldn't have to make some fucking shit up. Point to a real problem, motherfucker. Stop making up nonsense. Because now it sounds like there's not actually that many problems.
Let me just fact check a couple of other things that you said, Dana, because it's important. You said that all of these migrants are in the country legally. They're in the country through what's called temporary protective status. Right. That is when Kamala Harris waved a magic amnesty wand, taking people and giving them legal status. That is not a...
They're in the country legally. They did not cross the border illegally. They came in through a federal program and they were granted temporary legal status. That is called being legal. Is he gatekeeping? Is he border wall keeping immigration right now? Just because they're not legal the way you want them to be, JD Vance, doesn't mean that they're not legal. Even more so, this program that he's complaining about launched in January of 2023 that create or expand pathways for legal entry while restricting asylum for those who cross the border illegally. Between 12,000 to 15,000 Haitians who fled political turmoil and violence in their home country landed in Springfield over the past 5 years, arriving in the U.S. under a federal humanitarian program for migrants. Others are in the US on tourist visas and green cards. So again, these are people that are fleeing violence and absolute fucking turmoil And so they're granted a path to citizenship rather than coming in here illegally. And still, JD Vance is bitching that they're not legal enough.
Vice President Harris are, but I don't want to frankly go down this conversation about policy
Dana,
because
you made a point. You don't. I agree. You don't want to talk about policy.
No,
Dana,
what I
want to
talk about, what I want to talk about,
instead of the fact,
Senator,
that Kamala
it was
Harris,
your
Dana,
distraction.
granted amnesty.
You were the
at a
one who
mass
started
level.
talking
She
about
granted
eating
amnesty
dogs
at a
and
mass
cats.
level.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. First of all, Vance is getting absolutely fucking grilled here. Second of all, again, true. Vance, if you want everybody to focus on the real issues, then why are you distracting everybody from the fucking real issues, pal? Stop doing that.
You were the one who
Dana,
brought this
my
up. The
constituents
president
were the
said
ones
it to
who talked about
60
eating
million
dog and
people.
cats, and I talked about it because you were ignoring this community. My constituents talked.
They were ignoring it because it was false. We literally listened to how they reviewed 11 months of 911 calls, and they found that there were only 2 allegations of geese being killed and eaten or something, and they were followed through, and they were found to be false. The reason the media ignores it is because it's a lie. Vance?
Have you been to
It is my
Springfield?
responsibility to surface their concerns when the American media
Have you been to
ignores it.
Springfield?
Dana, I've been to Springfield probably 100 times in my life.
How about
I've taken my
recently,
children
since
to
you've
get
heard
ice
this?
cream at Young's Jersey Dairy.
Have you heard recently since you've gotten these calls?
Have I been in the last 4 days?
No, I'm
I haven't
talking
been in
about
the last 4 days, but I've
since
talked
you've
to a lot
gotten
of
these
people.
calls.
What is this? What is this dick measuring contest all of a sudden? I've been to Springfield, Ohio 100 times, okay? Nah. Make that 102 times, okay? Me and my kids, we used to go down to Jerry's ice cream cones and creamery for a good old time, all right? Don't test my Springfield knowledge, Springfield trivia. Chill, Vance. You're getting mighty defensive about how many times you've been to Springfield.
Dana, and they're telling me this stuff is happening. Dana, would you like to ask me questions and then let me answer them, or would you like to debate me on these topics? I noticed that when you had Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
He's so mad. Oh, he's so butthurt. Are you going to ask me questions or... She's literally pushing back on all the bullshit you're saying, dude.
You gave them multiple choice answers to the questions that you asked, and you allowed them to answer the questions. I'm happy to be here to talk about policy, but if you're going to interrupt me every single time that I open my mouth, then why am I even doing this? So please, ask a question, and I'd ask you to be polite enough to let me answer it.
Yes,
polite enough. Big man over here needs the civility politics, huh? JD Vance getting a little butthurt after he tried to weasel out of any responsibility that he might have when it comes to the threats against Springfield, Ohio, and him and Trump amplifying false claims. He already tried to weasel out of that, and now he's trying to beg this lady to please just ask him a nice question.
And I think that if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were making unsubstantiated claims that had racist undertones about people eating dogs and cats, and they didn't answer the questions about that, then I would have similar interactions with them. As you know, I am very...
That was the most syndicated roast of all time. No, but seriously, she was like, well, if they were able to answer the question and perhaps weren't spreading racism, then...
As you know, I am very grateful that you come on the show, as I am for other Republicans. But this is something that you're hearing from constituents. I did a lot of reporting. I talked to people in Ohio over the weekend, and they're really worried about these claims. The policies, yes, I am agreeing with you that what I heard is that there is concern that these migrants, there's a lot of them, and the integration isn't being done fast enough and well enough. And that's a totally legitimate conversation. But there are other conversations that are happening. Aiden Clark, who is an 11-year-old boy who was killed in Springfield last year. It was a car accident involving a Haitian immigrant. You said that he was murdered. His father said that's not true. It was an accident. Here's what he said to you.
Oh, no. Oh, no. JD Vance. He literally said that kid was murdered when it was a car accident?
Politicians, Bernie Moreno, Chip Roy, JD Vance, and Donald Trump. They have spoken my son's name and used his death for political gain. This needs to stop now. They are not allowed, nor have they ever been allowed to mention Aiden Clark from Springfield, Ohio. I will listen to them one more time to hear their apologies.
Senator, he's asking for you.
Fuck. Dude, JD Vance thought he was walking in for a classic little interview. He didn't realize he was walking in for the roast of JD Vance.
To apologize, will you?
Dana, first of all, my heart goes out to the Clark family, and I don't bring their son's name up because they've clearly expressed a preference for politicians to not bring their son's name up. I wish them all the best. I can't believe what kind of a tragedy they've experienced, but I'm still going to keep on talking about what the migrants have done to Springfield, Ohio, and what Kamala Harris's open border has done to Springfield.
So he feels really bad for them, but he's going to continue disrespecting their wishes. Man, this guy, he's got it down. He's able to say, I feel so bad for them, man. Wow. Yo, bros, my heart goes out for them, man. But then he's willing to just turn around and be like, but on the other hand, I'm not sorry enough to stop lying.
And Dana, I think this illustrates the entire contrast between how we're trying to go about this debate and how a lot of the Democrats are trying to go about this debate. They're talking about 12 Proud Boys marching in Springfield, Ohio. They're talking about the frankly fake debunkings of a lot of these stories that are out there. I'm talking to my constituents and I'm...
Fake? Wait, so we've heard of fake news. We've heard of fake polls. Now we have fake debunking? Okay.
Hearing terrible things about what's going on in Springfield, and Kamala Harris's open border policies have caused these problems. The hospitals are overwhelmed, Anna. The schools are overwhelmed.
Again, she already conceded that, Jay. She already acknowledged that. She already was like, yeah, that's a legitimate thing to talk about. So why are you distracting by spreading a bunch of bullshit that they're eating cats and dogs?
Local services are completely overwhelmed. You have people who can't afford housing. Homelessness has gone up. Murders are up by 81% because of what Kamala Harris has allowed.
That's not true at all. We just read how violent crime has not increased, even though the Haitian population has increased.
To happen to this small community. I'm going to keep on talking about that. Now, of course, we can criticize violence. We can also still talk about the problems that are happening in Springfield, and we should be able to do both those things simultaneously, Dana.
So then why can't you do both those things simultaneously, pal? Why can't you just talk about the issues without the little dash of racism? Just focus on the issues then. Do it. But instead you're like, well, my constituents, they told me this was happening. Do you just listen to everything your constituents tell you, pal? What if your constituents told you that they saw a unicorn yesterday? Would you be up here on CNN like, well, my constituents said... No, probably fucking not. Okay, it's because your constituents told you something that was convenient for your narrative. If you care about the real issues, talk about the real issues. But you are the one distracting from the supposed real issues by spreading lies.
Again, started this in part by saying that, at which Donald Trump repeated on the debate stage, that, and he didn't say anything about the policies that you're talking about. He just said Haitians are eating dogs and cats. Can you affirmatively say now that that is a rumor that has no basis with evidence?
He's so not going to do that. Oh, he's never going to do that.
Dana, the evidence is the first-hand account of my constituents who are telling me that this happened. And by the way...
Bro, does JD Vance believe in aliens, guys? Abducted by aliens. Believers tell their stories. Experiencers say extraterrestrials abducted them and haunt their lives. Look at this. ABC News, 2009. Multiple different people talking about their first-hand experience with a UFO. With aliens. Well, if we're going to go based on first-hand experience, as JD Vance is doing here, ladies and gentlemen, alien abduction is real. Thank you, Mr. Vance.
I've been trying to talk about the problems in Springfield for months, and the American media ignored it. There was a congressional hearing just last week of angel moms who lost children because Kamala Harris let criminal migrants into this country who then murdered their children. The American media totally ignored...
Just like the murder with the car accident, Jay?
This stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
but it wasn't just a meme.
It wasn't a meme,
stories,
dude. Listen to this fucking weasel. Now everybody just wants to get upset when I talk about a meme. It wasn't a meme, you dumb fuck. You're spreading actual fucking lies, and not only are they lies, they're lies that are leading to actual tangible harm on the town.
So that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast. You had one interview with her. You talk about pushing back against me, Dana. You didn't push back against the fact that she cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said that you're creating a...
Wait, what? Why aren't you talking to Kamala about these completely unrelated things that have nothing to do with what I said or did? Checkmate.
Vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said that you're creating a story.
Public policy.
Sorry, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you created. So then The eating dogs and cats thing is not
We are
accurate.
creating, Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to
They're not illegal.
Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to talk about this story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
Oops. Poor JD Vance. He accidentally went there. He accidentally admitted that he's just conjuring this whole thing up.
Do you condemn the Proud Boys, even if it's just 12, even if it's just one marching in Springfield?
Dana, I condemn all white supremacists. I'm obviously not. I'm married to a non-white person. I don't like these people, but I think that we have to keep our focus.
Being married to a non-white person does not mean that you, by default, are not racist or can't be racist. Let's not forget that slave owners did used to fuck their slaves, after all. And they were still racist.
Not on 12 marchers going down the street, but on the fact that thousands of residents have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's policy. I find this very unusual, Dana, that the American media is more interested in a bunch of losers marching down the street than they are in the fact that Kamala Harris has made these people's lives worse. I'm not talking about 12 Proud Boys.
Then why are their wages increasing, bro?
I'm talking about 40,000 residents, 40,000 constituents of mine, many of whom can't afford housing and food because of Kamala Harris's open border. That is what I want to focus the media's attention on. We're going to keep on doing it because I think the American people deserve a government that puts their interests first. Can I make just one more final point about this, Dana?
Yes, please.
You've heard a lot of the media focusing on every possible distraction from the story in Springfield. You've heard them focus on these Proud Boys marches. You've heard
That's because there's not a story to begin with. What you had here was a town on the decline, a town that was desperately in need of a new workforce. You then had Haitian migrants, legal Haitian migrants, show up and fill some of that workforce, which then boosted the local economy and is now leading to revitalizing the town. It's been a positive. We didn't see an increase in violent crime or property damage. We have not seen increases like this. We've seen a couple issues, yes, with hospitals being crowded and things of this nature. These are called growing pains, and it's a natural process, a natural thing that happens when there's an influx of people added to the population. But again, that's it. That's your story. Hey, a bunch of migrants showed up and generally benefited this otherwise dying town. That was your story. That was your story before. And now the story is, but the immigrants are eating the pets. I had a goldfish and it went missing.
Just in this interview, Dana, the suggestion that because some psychopath is calling it a bomb threat, somehow we have to then ignore 40,000 Springfieldians.
That's not what I suggested.
No one's saying this. That's a fucking straw man. It's not that you have to ignore it. It's that you could actually focus on the real fucking issues.
Lives worsened by Kamala Harris's policies. Well, what is the implication, Dana? I actually love to have this conversation right now live on air.
Right.
What is the implication when you say you calling out these problems has caused a bomb threat? You accused me of causing a bomb threat. Doesn't that mean you should shut up about the residents of Springfield?
Why is this guy so triggered? She did not accuse him of that.
Don't you realize you're engaged in basic propaganda to silence the concerns of American citizens?
I was quoting the actual mayor of Springfield, Ohio, begging after the bomb threats, begging federal officials, to please stop putting negative attention on his city. And I'm not talking about the policies. I'm not talking about the very real challenges that Springfield has. I'm talking about baseless rumors about Haitians eating dogs and cats. And that...
Oh, man. Poor Vance. Oh, he tried so hard right there. He was like, you're just like propaganda. How dare you say this to me? Let me clutch my pearls. Oh. And then she was like, actually, it was the mayor. I was quoting the mayor. Oh, man. JD Vance, every single time. It's like he dodges, always ends up wearing a clown nose once again.
After that was said on a debate stage, that is when these bomb threats started. And that is a fact. Senator, I just want to move on. I have two other quick issues separate from this that I want to talk to you about.
Dana,
go ahead.
Again,
please go ahead.
He's not going to like that.
I think this is actually I think this is an important conversation.
Okay.
Look, the Springfield mayor, he's dealing with a lot of terrible things. I certainly sympathize with the guy, and we're going to try to help him out. But he did not accuse me of inciting a bomb threat. He just didn't. And if we're going to take
no one ever said that you did it or that you incited it.
firsthand accounts of people who are on the ground in Springfield, why don't you bring on some of the people on your program who say that the migrants are eating their pets? You're applying a double standard here. You're saying if one person accuses J.D. Vance, I'm going to take that person's word as the gospel truth, even if you misrepresent it. If you have another person who's saying they're eating the cats, you're going to completely ignore them, attack them, silence them.
It's not ignore them or attack or silence or anything. It's do their claims check out? All right, let's look at the 911 calls. Let's look at the records. Are there any documents or any reports of pets being stolen and then eaten by Haitian immigrants? No? Okay, then it's probably a fucking load of horse shit. Move on.
Harass them. That double standard is why the people don't trust the media and why we're not talking about public policy 51 days out from a presidential election.
Okay, if you have somebody you want to tell us about who has proof that somebody ate their cat, of course we want to hear that. We certainly have had no evidence that that is actually something that happened. And I just want to say, I have not accused you of anything. I am quoting the mayor who said, after these bomb threats, federal politicians are negatively spinning our city. They need to know they are hurting our city. It was their words that did it. Okay? That I'm quoting him. And
their words that did it, meaning their words that hurt their city.
It seems to be a cause and effect.
Roll the tape. You just accused me of inciting a bomb threat. There's no evidence of this. I condemn violence and threats of violence.
Does this man not understand words? She read him the quote again, and now he's literally like, you just accused me again.
Of inciting a bomb threat. There's no evidence of this. I condemn violence and threats of violence. We should be able to do that and also still talk about what's going on in Springfield.
I'm glad to hear that you condemn it. That is very important. We had a lot of other issues to get to, but I really hope that you do come back so we can talk about other issues, Senator.
Dude, he just didn't get it. He looped. So basically, J.D. Vance creates a story to hopefully get everybody to focus on the real issues, even though he himself, as well as Donald Trump, have successfully distracted from the real issues to instead stoke a bunch of rumors that Haitian immigrants are eating the cats and dogs. Well, there you guys have it. I have suffered enough for the day, so thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.